The Florida sun beamed through the blinds of Rachel Whitmore's small condo in Orlando, casting golden stripes across her beige carpet. She sat at her kitchen table with a steaming cup of chamomile tea, wearing the same sky-blue housecoat she'd had for years. The silence around her was thick, broken only by the hum of her old refrigerator and the distant bark of a neighbor's dog. This was her routine now: quiet mornings, long afternoons, and silent evenings. At 64 years old, Rachel had lived a life that once seemed full. She'd worked 30 years as a public school teacher, raised 2 children who now lived across the country, and buried her husband 5 years ago after a heart attack claimed him in the middle of the night. They'd had a good marriage, not perfect, but full of understanding and quiet love. But now, with no grandchildren to spoil and no more lesson plans to write, Rachel found herself craving something she hadn't felt in years: connection. It was on one of those long, lonely evenings that she decided to try something different. With her reading glasses perched on the bridge of her nose and a heart full of hesitant hope, she created a profile on Facebook Dating. Her fingers trembled as she uploaded a picture of herself from last Thanksgiving, smiling in a burgundy sweater, wine glass in hand. She wasn't expecting much. Maybe a few polite chats with men her age. Maybe someone to talk to. What she didn't expect was him. The message came 2 days later. "Hello, beautiful. I couldn't scroll past your smile." His name was Michael Erickson. His profile said he was 39, a petroleum engineer from Sweden working overseas in Iraq on a contract with an American oil company. His photos were striking: chiseled jaw, deep-set blue eyes, light scruff on his chin. In one, he stood beside a steel pipeline in the desert sun, a hard hat under one arm and a confident smile on his lips. In another, he was shirtless on a yacht, the sea behind him and golden skin glistening. Rachel stared at his pictures for what felt like hours. She clicked reply. "Hi, Michael. That's very sweet of you. Thank you." And just like that, the correspondence began. Every morning, a message would be waiting. "Good morning, beautiful. I hope you slept well. Thinking of you while I sip my coffee. Wish I was having it with you." The words melted Rachel. He was charming, consistent, and attentive. They talked about everything. She told him about her years in the classroom, her love of watercolor painting, her husband's death. He told her about growing up in Stockholm, his long stints in war-torn regions, and how lonely it could feel in a foreign land. He asked questions. He listened. He complimented her intelligence, her grace, her resilience. He called her his queen, said her wisdom made her more alluring than any woman his age. He said she was timeless, and Rachel began to believe in it. Michael made her feel seen, cherished. Every "good morning, beautiful" became a heartbeat. Every evening message a warm embrace. He even called her on WhatsApp. His voice was smooth, with a Scandinavian accent, deep, gentle, flirtatious. The video was always grainy, with low lighting, and he said the internet in Iraq was spotty. But that didn't matter to Rachel. For the first time in years, she was smiling when she woke up. For the first time in years, someone made her feel wanted. And just when she thought this fairy tale romance was finally going somewhere, just when her heart had cracked open wide enough to let love in again, Michael vanished. The silence was unbearable. For the first time in a few days, Rachel's phone didn't light up with a ping. "Good morning, beautiful." There was no message, no voice note, no picture of Michael sipping coffee or posing beside some distant stretch of desert pipeline. Just the blank, unbothered lock screen of her phone. She stared at it, confused, tapping the screen again as if that would summon him. Maybe his Wi-Fi had finally given out, she thought. Maybe the signal in Iraq was worse than he let on, but by noon her concern had bloomed into a quiet panic. By sunset she was pacing the living room. Rachel opened their chat thread and reread their last exchange from 3 days ago. Michael, "Sleep well, my queen. I dream of you every night." Rachel, "Sweet dreams, darling. Stay safe." And then, nothing. She sent a message. Rachel, "Hey, love, is everything okay?" No response. She waited 2 more hours, then sent another. Rachel, I'm getting a little worried. Please message me when you can. Still nothing. The next morning came and went in a fog of anxiety. Her tea sat cold on the kitchen counter. The news was on, but background noise to the storm in her mind. Finally that evening, her phone vibrated. Michael, I'm okay, my love, but things are bad here. Her breath caught. She opened the message immediately. Michael, there's a workers' strike going on. Violent protests outside the compound. 2 guys were hurt. It's chaos. Rachel's heart raced. She imagined Michael trapped behind barbed wire and concrete barricades while explosions echoed in the distance. Rachel, oh my God, are you safe? Do you need anything? Michael, I'm trying to get out, but I'm stuck. I lost my wallet. My cards were in it. I can't access anything right now. Rachel, you lost your wallet? You mean no ID, no cards? Michael, everything's gone. I'm trying to reach my embassy, but it's moving slow. I just need to get somewhere safe. Then came a video. It showed a chaotic street, flames in the distance, people running, men with bandanas throwing stones. It looked like a war zone. Rachel covered her mouth as she watched, her stomach twisted. Michael, they're saying I need at least $5,000 to charter transport out of here and get to Qatar. That'll get me a flight and a place to stay for a while. Rachel stared at the message. Her hand hovered over the keyboard. She'd never sent money to anyone before. Not like this. But this wasn't anyone. This was Michael, her Michael. He'd never asked for anything until now, and she could hear the fear in his voice, the desperation. Michael, I didn't want to tell you. I hate asking, but I don't know what else to do. Rachel didn't hesitate. Rachel, I'll help you. Her heart beat fast as she wired the money the next morning. It felt surreal. Her hands trembled as she typed the amount and pressed send. That evening, she got a video message. Michael, in a dimly lit hotel room, smiled softly at the camera. Michael, you saved my life, Rachel. I'll never forget this. I've never had someone care for me like you do. She watched that video 10 times before going to bed. She didn't feel scammed. She felt loved. The days that followed were filled with tenderness. Michael texted constantly, telling Rachel how much she meant to him. You saved me, he wrote one morning. Not just my body, my spirit. I've never felt this close to someone in my life. Rachel glowed reading those words. The tension from the past week faded. Every message, every video chat made her feel closer to him than ever before. He sent her photos of the hotel in Qatar. Nothing extravagant, but clean and secure. A small room with a twin bed, a view of the city skyline, and a desk cluttered with coffee cups and a laptop. He sent her videos, too, walking down a quiet street, sitting at a cafe with Arabic signs in the background, even one of him looking straight into the camera and saying, I owe everything to you, Rachel. You're my angel. Rachel was all in. Her heart had anchored itself to this man she had never met, and each interaction tightened the knot. She couldn't wait for the day he'd be standing in her doorway, suitcase in hand, asking, Where do I put my things, my queen? Then one afternoon, while Rachel was flipping through the mail at her kitchen table, her phone buzzed again. Michael, can I ask you something? She smiled. Rachel, of course, darling. What's on your mind? Michael, the money I had won't last long here. Qatar is expensive. I've got maybe a few more nights at this hotel. Her stomach dropped. Rachel, what do you need? Michael, I want to go home, to Sweden. If I can get back to Stockholm, I'll be able to get to my accounts, reset my life. Then I can book a flight to Orlando. Be with you. Rachel hesitated. Michael, it would cost about $10,000. That covers my ticket, a temporary place to stay until I can get into my flat, and everything else. After that, I swear you'll never have to lift a finger again. She reread the message 3 times. $10,000. She had the money. Barely. But it wasn't pocket change. It was part of her retirement cushion, and she'd already sent $5,000 just days ago. Michael, I know it's a lot. I hate asking, but I love you, Rachel. I can't do this without you. I want to start our life together. I need you. That last line echoed in her mind. I need you." Tears welled up in her eyes. Rachel, "Okay, I'll do it. Just promise me this is the last time." Michael, "It is. You're going to see me soon, I swear. I love you." She wired the money the next morning. That night, a delivery driver rang her doorbell with a surprise, a bouquet of white lilies and roses, and a small card that read, "To my Rachel, from your Michael. Thank you for saving me." She pressed the flowers to her chest and cried, not because she was afraid, because she was in love, and because she believed, truly believed, that everything she had given was building something beautiful. What she didn't know was that across the world, in a quiet neighborhood in Ghana, a young man named Jeffrey scrolled through her messages with calculating eyes and smiled. The flowers were just the beginning. Over the next few weeks, Michael, still supposedly in Sweden, sent Rachel small tokens of affection: a cheap silver bracelet, a teddy bear holding a heart, a box of chocolates that arrived slightly melted. But it was never about the quality. It was the thought, the gesture, the idea that even an ocean away, he was thinking of her. Rachel displayed everything proudly on her mantel. Visitors were rare, but if anyone had stopped by, she would have introduced each item like a love letter, frozen in time. And Michael never let the fantasy fade. "Just a little longer," he'd say. "I'm organizing everything to come to see you. I want our first kiss to be in your kitchen while the coffee's brewing." Rachel blushed at the thought, her stomach fluttering like a teenager. But it didn't take long for the messages to shift. "Michael, babe, I've been thinking. There's this business opportunity I might be able to invest in. Just something to get us ahead." Rachel, "What kind of business?" Michael, "An oil equipment lease here in Sweden. A buddy of mine is flipping them fast, but I need to front about $7,000. I'll double it in weeks." Rachel hesitated. Michael, "We could use that for our house in Orlando, our future. I want to build something with you, Rachel." And just like that, she found herself sending another wire, not because she believed in the business, but because she believed in him. Over the next few months, the asks continued, not daily, not pushy, always spaced apart, always timed just right. A frozen bank account, a new passport fee, a fake customs bribe. Each problem seemed real enough, paired with just enough documentation: fuzzy images of receipts, fake government letters, snapshots of official-looking papers. Michael soothed every concern with affection. "Michael, you are my angel. When we're together, I'll give you the world, Rachel. I just want you, Michael, and you will have me forever." Rachel began taking out loans, small ones at first, then bigger. She stopped going out, cut back on groceries, sold some of her jewelry. Her checking account dipped, then her savings, then her retirement. And each time she felt a pang of doubt, the phone would ping. "Michael, good morning, my queen. I miss you like air." She couldn't tell anyone, not her daughter, not her friends from church. No one would understand. They'd all think she was foolish. But she didn't feel foolish. She felt chosen. Until one day, as she sat surrounded by unpaid bills and past due notices, the weight of it all came crashing down. She messaged Michael. "Rachel, I don't know how much more I can do. I'm exhausted, love. I'm scared." For hours, nothing. Then finally, Michael. "Rachel, I have something to tell you." And with that, her perfect fantasy began to crack. The man she loved was not who he said he was, and Rachel's world was about to collapse. Rachel sat perfectly still in her recliner, the glow of her phone screen flickering off her pale face. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard. Her throat was dry. Her heart thundered in her chest. "Michael, Rachel, I have something to tell you." It took him another hour to respond. "Michael, my name isn't Michael Erickson. I'm not from Sweden. I'm not in Sweden at all." Rachel blinked. For a second, her mind refused to accept the words. "Michael, my real name is Jeffrey. I live in Ghana. I used someone else's photos. I never meant for it to go this far." The words bled down the screen like a wound opening in slow motion. Her teacup slipped from her hand and shattered against the floor. She didn't even flinch. He kept messaging. Jeffrey, at first it was just supposed to be a scam. I needed money. I had nothing. But then you were different. You were kind. You talked to me like I mattered. Rachel couldn't breathe. Jeffrey, I'm sorry. I swear I didn't mean to hurt you. I just kept going. I didn't know how to stop. She stared at the screen in silence for what felt like a century. Her body was numb, her thoughts blank. She scrolled back through months of messages, every I love you, every pet name, every lie. She wanted to scream, but instead, she laughed. Just once, short, bitter. Her bank account was almost empty. Her credit cards were maxed. Her daughter had stopped answering her calls after she refused to explain why she needed another loan. Rachel had nothing left, nothing but a man who never existed. And yet, beneath the anger, the humiliation, the disbelief, something else took root, a calm, a plan. She messaged back, Rachel, I forgive you. Jeffrey didn't respond right away. Rachel, I meant what I said. I loved Michael, and I love you too. You told me the truth. That means something. There was a pause. Jeffrey, you really mean that? Rachel, yes, I want to start over. With you. Come here, Jeffrey. Come to Florida. Let's put the lies behind us. The bait was set. And halfway across the world, Jeffrey, desperate to escape the slums of Accra and blinded by the chance of a new life, bit down hard. Jeffrey, are you serious? Rachel, dead serious. And she was. Just not in the way he thought. The paperwork didn't take long. Rachel told him she'd handle it all. His flight, the visa sponsorship, food, even the money for his travel needs. Jeffrey was hesitant at first, worried it was a trick. But every time doubt crept in, Rachel was there to reassure him. Soft messages, a steady tone, a familiar affection that never wavered. Rachel, you told me the truth. That matters. We've come this far together. Let's not throw it away. Within weeks, the arrangements were complete. Rachel dipped even further into her savings to get him here. She told her bank she was helping a friend. She lied to her daughter again. She even refinanced her car. Every day she got a little closer to zero. Every day she smiled a little wider. She cleaned the house top to bottom, cooked dishes she hadn't made in years, rearranged the guest room, then changed her mind and made it her own room, because she wanted him close. She wanted to see his face when he woke up, smell him on the pillows, watch him breathe. She even bought him clothes, American brands, slim-fit jeans, polo shirts, a pair of Nike Air Max sneakers. She wanted him to feel welcomed, wanted him to believe. The day of his arrival, she stood in the airport terminal, her heart pounding like a war drum. She wore a soft yellow dress and had her silver-streaked hair tied up. Her lipstick was fresh, her nerves tighter than ever. And then she saw him, Jeffrey, not Michael, not the blue-eyed Swede with the flannel and guitar. Jeffrey, young, smooth-faced, and nervous. His eyes searched the crowd until they landed on her, and then he smiled, a sheepish, hesitant grin. She opened her arms, and he walked into them. She held him tight. "Welcome home," she whispered. At the house, Rachel played her part perfectly. She showed him around like a mother giving her child a tour of their new school. She made him tea, fried plantains, showed him the stack of paperwork she'd filed, everything above board, everything legal. That night, they sat on the couch, quiet, for a long time. Then Rachel stood up and walked to the coffee table. She opened a folder and placed it in front of him. Inside were printed bank statements, credit card bills, foreclosure notices, and letters from lenders. The total amount owed, over $110,000. Jeffrey's eyes widened as he flipped through the pages. "Every cent I sent you," Rachel said softly. "Loans, advances, penalties, and interest." He looked up, his face pale. "I'm sorry," he mumbled. "I didn't—" But Rachel raised her hand to silence him. She reached under the couch cushion and pulled out a small black pistol. Jeffrey's words caught in his throat. "You ruined me," she whispered. You took my kindness, my loneliness, my love, and you sold it for garbage. Rachel, please! She shot him in the leg. He screamed, collapsing to the floor, clutching his thigh, blood smeared across the hardwood. She walked around the coffee table, calm as ever. Then she shot him in the other leg. Jeffrey howled. You think I didn't know what I was doing? She said. You think I flew you here to heal? She knelt beside him, her voice trembling with rage. I flew you here to finish this. And then she emptied the rest of the magazine into his chest. When the police arrived, they found Rachel sitting on the couch, blood on her dress, hands folded in her lap. I'm done now, she said. He was never real, but this is. And in that moment, Rachel Whitmore, the retired teacher from Orlando, became something else entirely. A headline, a symbol, a warning. The headlines came fast and brutal. Florida woman kills online scammer in cold blood. Romance turned murder, a retiree's revenge. Catfished and triggered, the Rachel Whitmore story. Within 24 hours, Rachel's face was plastered across every news outlet in America. Cable news anchors debated her mental state. Social media exploded with hashtags. Justice for Rachel trended for days, as thousands of people, especially older women, rallied behind her. They called her brave. They called her broken. They called her dangerous. The police report was clinical. Rachel Whitmore, age 64, fired 7 rounds into 27-year-old Jeffrey Adamako, a Ghanaian national who had entered the U.S. on a temporary visa sponsored by Rachel herself. She confessed at the scene. No resistance. No denial. Just the facts, spoken with eerie calm. I brought him here, she told the detectives. I needed him to see what he'd done, and then I needed it to end. At her arraignment, Rachel wore a simple gray jumpsuit. Her hair was pinned back. Her hands trembled slightly, but her eyes were still. The courtroom was packed with reporters, bloggers, curious strangers. Her attorney pled not guilty by reason of temporary insanity. The prosecution painted a different picture. She planned this, the district attorney said. She bought the plane ticket, filed the paperwork, lured him here with the promise of love, and then she executed him like a criminal in her living room. Rachel didn't react, not when they showed the photos, not when they played audio from her 911 call, not even when her daughter testified that her mother had become distant, obsessed, and financially self-destructive. The trial lasted 3 weeks. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. They found her guilty of second-degree murder. At sentencing, the judge looked her dead in the eyes and said, You were a victim, Ms. Whitmore, but you chose to become a predator. Rachel nodded, and I'd do it again. She was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Inside Lowell Correctional Institution, Rachel became a legend. Inmates treated her like a queen. Guards whispered about her in the break room. Some called her insane. Others said she did what needed to be done. A journalist from Rolling Stone wrote a profile titled, The Woman Who Loved Too Much. Netflix released a documentary, and every so often, letters would arrive, fan mail, sympathy cards, even marriage proposals. Rachel never replied. She spent her days quietly, working in the prison library, shelving romance novels. Sometimes she'd pick one up, thumb through the pages, and smile, not because she believed in love anymore, but because she knew what it could do.